What's going on, guys? In this video, it's not philosophy from fighting, but I'm going to be talking about 7 pillars that build up healthy relationships. Now that I'm entering my 20s, a really important part of my journey has actually been on others. I've turned away from self improvement and I'm looking to improve my relationships and my bonds with other people. These 7 principles are principles that I personally practice. There are some that I could be better at, which I will disclose. But these principles are from this book right here, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. Great book. Um, in a chapter about like limbic bonding, the doctor who wrote the book also talked about these 7 principles that he tells his patients. So I want to bring that to your attention as well. So, the first principle is taking responsibility for keeping a relationship strong. If you feel as if a relationship is weak or if you guys aren't seeing eye to eye, you got to take accountability and you got to realize that I can put effort too. Maybe I'm not doing enough things that allow this person to come out and be more of the version of themselves that I want to see. Another thing, you got to nurture people. You know, your friends, your romantic partner. People are like plants in that way. You have to nurture them. You have to pay attention to their needs and do the best that you can to nurture their needs. You got to be kind of like a chameleon. You got to be able to accommodate to a lot of different people to have a lot of different strong relationships. If a girl is introverted, think of how can you water that type of plant. So maybe she values dates that are less like amusement parks and roller skates and stuff. Maybe she's more into quiet things such as like the library or an art museum or something like that. So consider the other person and nurture their needs meticulously. Do things purposefully and intentfully. Another thing, protect the people that you're building relationships with. Build them up. Do not tear them down. Build them up with them, in front of them, and when you're away from them. It's really vital that we hold people that we're close with and building relationships with in high regard, because that can be a breach of trust. If you start to belittle a person over and over again, and especially if they hear about it coming from someone else, you can start to break trust and the relationship is just cooked. So, number 4, clarify any of your hurts early on. If there's any misunderstanding, if somebody accidentally says something to offend you, you should clarify it virtually as soon as it happens. Don't be emotional, don't like freak out and start crashing out, but you should ask questions such as like, what do you mean by that? Why did you say that? Or what is that supposed to mean? Look for clarification. Don't just sit there building resentment, because resentment will kind of ruin the pillars that we've discussed before and in the future. If you resent a person, you're going to stop being a good friend to them. You're going to stop like paying attention to them, and you're going to stop being so willing to do these nice, beautiful things to them. So another thing, you should focus on what you like about the person more than what you don't like about the person. Not everybody's perfect. Actually, nobody's perfect. Scratch that. There are going to be things about each and every person that you meet ever that will bother you to some capacity. And you need to ask yourself, what do you like? You need to constantly ask yourself, what's good about a person? That's actually a great way to meet new people, stepping into like a positive mindset. You should always ask yourself, okay, what do I enjoy about this person? What's something that brings me joy about this person? And you should ask that question about virtually everyone that you engage with, because that will put you in a positive frame of mind to deal with them. If you're just constantly like, oh, they snore, I hate when they snore, I hate when they leave the bathroom light on, you're going to be in a negative state of mind when you interact with them, and it's just going to come out. So you should probably think about the good things that a person brings to your life and carry that good energy when you interact with them. Another thing, protecting and trust is crucial. Protecting trust is crucial. If you break trust, you're cooked. Dishonesty, you know, affairs, pretty much, it's pretty much obvious. You don't want to betray a person's trust, because that would really just cook the relationship. It would just cook it. And last but not least, face conflict. And this is my personal, face conflict together. If you guys come across some sort of issue, don't avoid it. Do not avoid it. If you guys have a different communication style and you feel in your heart that it's drifting you away and it's making you less willing to participate in the other pillars on this list, don't avoid the conflict. Address it. Don't react. Don't crash out. That's a very important thing, everybody. Do not crash out. But be aware and respond accordingly. Come up with a thoughtful response. Hey, I noticed that. I'll give one example that, you may not text me first, and sometimes it makes me feel like I'm not wanted. Um, can we dive into that? Are you just not a big texter? Is there anything that I could do? Stuff like that. You just really gotta dive into conflict together. You can't just avoid shit, build resentment, and then crash out or like do some questionable actions. I've had that. I've had that personally where, a woman didn't face conflict with me and she chose to face the conflict on her own accord and then do a lot of things without me being aware. And then by the time the conflict was presented to me, a whole case study was performed, and there was no togetherness in that conflict, and it just was not going to be something that worked out. So essentially, those are 7 principles that this book has explained for just building relationships. It's something that I've been working on personally with all my friendships and my romantic endeavors, and I just hope to become a better friend and a better lover, and I hope that this video helped anybody with the same goals.